So, 2005, Torrance, California. I was an administrative assistant at a company called Republic Lagoon Machine Tool Company. And I would use my, computer skills to assemble sales pitches, sales documents for the sales guys. And so they were for vertical knee mills and what else, lathes and CNC machines. They had a 5-axis gantry, was giant. I learned about machine tools, and anyway, it was one of the ways that I learned about computers. I had a couple drinks, and so that's why I feel comfortable sharing this. So please excuse me. So not the best time in my life, I wasn't home with my boys, and I thought I was going to be starting a new life. It was the whole LA thing, and I moved to Long Beach, well, Downey and then Long Beach. And so anyway, so I would go to lunch when I was this administrative assistant, and I would leave the piece of paper, the sales guys would literally print out pictures and cut them out and paste them on, or tape them on a piece of paper and write, by hand the words that they wanted and stuff like that. And I would just recreate it. I would just do it on the computer. And so I would leave, and the part that, they gave me would be sitting at my desk. And I would come back, and what was on my computer didn't match what was on my desk. And I, I would take a mental image, picture, before I left. And so I realized it wasn't that someone was replacing the paper. It was on the computer. Okay. So, this was, my mouth is dry. Hold on. It was 2005, and so I looked into it, and I was like, okay, I didn't have any administrative permissions on the computer I was on. And so I'm gonna drink this. I didn't have any administrative permissions, and so but okay, so I realized that I was on a workstation. I was on a local computer, but I was only using it to log onto a server. And so I realized that I didn't have any permissions in the server as the username that I started out with. I mean, I kept, if you know computers, you'll understand. But but on the local machine, wait, let me think. No, which way was it? No, it was the other way around. I had administrative for the server, but I didn't for the local machine. And I realized that when I would log out and go to lunch, it wasn't really that it was sitting on my computer. Like, it wasn't like anybody even had to come to my desk. Like, because everything was on a server, and this is 2005, it's in the cloud, you know, like, and that's back before people were really that savvy, you know, like most like general people wouldn't know, you know, that they were not working on a local computer. Like, they're turning this computer on, you know, like you turn that computer on, you log in, you do your work, it seems like it's all on that computer. Well, I didn't want to work on the fucking server anymore. I was like, oh hell no. Like, I would just like to keep my freaking data on the local computer, please. And thank you. Like, I would like to keep track of it. Thank you very much. And so I got a book. Like, I got a DOS book, I think, like at a thrift store. And I went home and we had a computer, and I like practiced with the command line, and I practiced creating or actually, I didn't have to create one. I practiced getting into my the permissions for the user accounts by going in through with a permission of like a network. Okay, so like I had permissions in network as administrative, but on local I didn't. And so I went in with the permissions from the, you know, like the network, from the server, and adjusted, you know, the local permissions, and so that I could log in to the local computer. Because what was happening is, like, I couldn't even log into the local computer because it was just set to only log into the server. And so I was not okay with that. After, like, I was like, I'm not freaking crazy. And here's the thing. Okay, so the guy who was the head of IT, his first name was Eduardo, and he was very suave, and he was a little bit older than me, but not a whole lot. Like, no, actually, he might have actually been a little bit younger. I don't know. I mean, like, it didn't really matter. That stuff doesn't really matter, but like, he was just kind of a dick, you know, but I wasn't doing that great. I'm like, look, I was still me. Like, you know, like when I first started there, I was clean and sober, and then, you know, like people moved into the apartment next to us, you know, and just so happened right after I got that cool job. Anyway, and so I embarrassed myself. You know, I eventually ended up embarrassing myself, but not until after I totally blew them away. Because what happened was, I'm sure that Eduardo was like getting on there and like changing my shit, you know, like it wouldn't be hard especially if he's got all of the permissions. Like, he could literally sign it. He could change the password. You know what I mean? Like, he could look up the password, log in as me, you know, and change things. If not, just logging in as himself. Because it would still come up on his screen because it's just through the server. Anyway, and so this one particular day, I was like, okay, I'm ready. Like, I had to memorize it. I wanted to memorize it. And so I didn't go in and like, I don't know. I just wanted to, you know, and so I went in and I got it done. I got the permissions, got logged out of the server, logged in onto the local machine, had the same software and stuff like that. You know, I made sure I still had the software. Like, I was like, and I started doing my work. And so I, you know, like, went to lunch, and I came back and it was the same. And I was like, hallelujah. I was like, I fucking knew it, dude. I knew I wasn't fucking crazy. Like, do you know what that's like? To like go to freaking lunch thinking like I'm on it. And this is before I fucking relapsed, okay? So I'm not gonna be like, oh, it's his fault. But like, I don't fucking know, dude. This shit was fucking batshit fucking crazy until I figured it out. Because I'm like, I realized when I grew up in the house that I grew up in, like, no, things don't just fucking happen out of nowhere. And so I figured it out and I overcame it. And so I can't remember if it was that same day or if it was the next day. He might have actually, I think that day he might have been like, "Hey, like, how are you doing?" And I was like, I'm good, you know, and he was like, "Oh, how are you doing on such and such?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, I got it. I sent it to so and so, you know, like I finished it and I sent it off." And he was like, "What?" And so then the next day, I'm pretty sure it had to have been like, it was pretty short. Like there wasn't a whole lot of time in between me figuring out how to get myself working in a local environment. And so the next day I'm like, you know, working on my computer and he calls and he's like, "Hey, what are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm working." He's like, "But what are you working on?" I'm like, "This such and so-and-so's like proposal and, you know, like I'm wrapping it up or whatever." And he was like, "What?" You know, and he was like, "Okay, hold on." And he comes over to my desk. And I knew as soon as that happened, as soon as he called and was like asking the questions, I was like, "I fucking knew it, dude. What the, dude?" So and then he comes over, right? He comes over to my desk. And I'm just like, "Do, do, 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 do." And this is like old CRT, you know, like this is like the beige kind of like really big freaking monitors and stuff. And I, you know, and you could see what I'm working on, you know, you could see the freaking, you know, the graphics and stuff like that. And he's like, he goes like this, like, okay, wait. So like, let's say like this is the screen, right? So like the white part. And he's like, wait, let's go. He comes up on his knees. Okay. He gets on his knees so that he see my screen. And he's like, "How are you doing that?" Wait, I don't know if you can see me. He's like, how are you doing that?" I was like, that close, dude. He got so close to the screen. And I was just like, in my head, I was just like, I'm gonna love it because this dude doesn't know that, like, dude, I was one of those, you know, like, I didn't have a computer at my house, but I just so happened to be dating a boy that was older than me and they had a computer. So I learned how to do like DOS and like change the color of the freaking cursor. And you know what I mean? Like I got really comfortable with that part. And like then Oregon Trail freaking came out and, you know, learn how to freaking change the drive. I mean, like you could only do so many things, you know, in the beginning. And so so I got the book and I was like, "Oh, I got this," you know? And so, he was just like, "What, dude?" Life was a fucking shit show. Like after that, especially, like I was not very good at checking myself. You know what I mean? Like I was, balls to the wall, hard. I was just thinking about that. Like I had a drink and I was like made a drink last like all day. It was a tall, you know, like tall beer thing, but you know, I just like nursed it. And if you want something different, do something different. If you drink, don't drink. If you never drink and you're fucking miserable, I don't know. I tried it and I'm in a neutral position, but I am familiar with the extremes. I am familiar with the extremes of both the too much drinking and the zero drinking, and they're both insane in their own ways. My personal experience, okay, this, my personal experience. I definitely believe that there is a time for abstinence, but this is not the time or place. But yeah. So I was like, oh my God, I remember. I'm like watching a video about ports because I was like, oh, like maybe like I should watch it, you know, like and get a refresher and like, you know, I'm trying to like be smarter than the freaking thing, you know. I'm like, oh, I know what this is and it's fun. And you know, like if you're like, you know, computer techie kind of person, you'll get it. But I just wanted, oh my gosh, I remember I was like, yeah, dude, go freaking nerds. Yeah, nice try, Eduardo, with your freaking BMW and your freaking slick back hair, thinking you're all freaking cool because you got the fucking keys to the freaking office. Like, I figured you out. Guess what? I figured you out. And I figured out the freaking system. And you know what I did? I gave myself permission. And then what? Then I did it the right way. You know? Like, they hate it. That's when you live in a puppet master's world. First thing I should say is that it's not just one. If you have crossed paths with a puppet master, 9 times out of 10, there's strings above them and strings above them, and gets pretty webby, you know? But you can't, there is a world out there, and there are no strings, okay? It's real. There really is, okay? I've met people who have cut the strings. Like, no more freaking strings. We're not fucking playing that game. You know, unfortunately, people still, you know, like, you got to be careful because you could still get your strings tied to more strings or sure, whatever, dude. I'm really getting into it, but, yeah. Strings, Ethernet, you know, those are long, skinny things. A little bit of indigestion. Well, thank you for joining me for today's Four Loca stories, brought to you by Four Loco. I don't know. I did drink the Four Loco. You want to know why? Because I'm a grown up. And I walked. You know what? I might go get another one. And I will walk. I'll go walk there. I walked the other day to go get some freaking Mike and Ike's. So there. I wanted some Mike and Ike's. And I walked up there and I got them. Ate my motherfucking Mike and Ike's. On the way home. Walking on the way home. Give a fuck. Somebody rode their little electric scooter by. They waved. I was like, hi. So yeah, that's what I've been up to. I switched my bedroom. I am in the process of switching my bedroom to an unorthodox room. Okay. I do things different. We do things different around here. Because if you want something different, you do something different. So, we're doing something different. And, I'm going to use grown-up thinking for the most part. Still, that's kind of boring. But I'm not putting myself in the box, you know? And I'm not promoting change, just like radical change that's not thought out, because I definitely thought it out. Like, I not only thought it out, but like I prepped people. Okay, so like I probably didn't relapse, right? But it's okay, because I don't know if it's really relapse. I don't know. Like, I'm rethinking, you know, my own reality, my own philosophical reality, my experience, my needs, my desires, my, you know, like, the clock is ticking, you know, we're finite. So, yeah. Okay.